You have questions, we have answers. This is Jane Muller.
And this is Ken Muller. Welcome to our show, all about real estate with Ken and Jane. And today, Jane, the questions are going to be about the fall. What do you typically do in the fall? You
clean up.
No, well, that's true too. But I was thinking more along what do most people in New Jersey do? You basically get ready for those pumpkins. You get ready to eat. You get ready to sit on your couch. It's football season, right?
Yes, absolutely.
Can we talk a little football, or do you want to wait till the Super Bowl? I want to get. What do you think of the Jets and Giants? What do you have a prediction for the Super Bowl? You want to wait?
Let's stick with the topic I know well, which is real estate. Ken, I'm sorry.
All right,
I don't want to.
How many? Just give me a thing. How many will the Jets have? More than 7 wins, more or less? Give me a number for the Jets. They have play a total of 17 games. Will they win more than 7 games? Just give me a Okay. All right. That's fair. A lot of people may agree with you. Yeah, that's true. But they have a lot of talent, but it's a young team.
Why you always put me in the spot? A lot of my clients are Jet supporter.
Yeah.
A lot of my clients are. I don't want to upset them.
Then at home, don't call us losers for listening to this.
I only call it home. I don't say it in public because a lot of my clients will withdraw the listing from me.
Exactly. Well, this is a sports station, so we got to break it up a little bit. And it is football season, and we're not going to talk about this as the home station for Rutgers. We got to.
Yeah, absolutely. I should learn more about sports.
So I want you to brush up on your football now.
Yes.
But for this show, let's get back to the fall. It's fall, so usually in fall, we're going to talk about tips for getting your home in tip-top shape, so it's ready and it's presentable, and you're not in trouble with any of the maintenance issues that if you don't do could come up and get you.
Ken, a lot of time, right? I really would hope, to help the listener there. A lot of homeowners, right? They only prepare the home before they put on a market, which is, in my opinion, it's not gonna good for the condition of the home. And even you don't for sale, right? It's for enjoyment. And B, and if you that case, a lot of delayed maintenance gonna cost you, break your bank. Big bucks to fix them. So a lot of time, I think the home maintenance is no different with a car, right? Or health matter, right? Mm-hmm. Why we have an annual check with the health? If any problem, it's a small fix for the doctor, right?
Right, before it becomes a big problem.
Exactly.
So you can pay now or pay later. So that's what
with a home, the same thing. Some tips, right? If you take care of it early stage, it's just gonna be small job. A lot of people said, "I'm so busy, Jay," but if you don't take care of them, become a big problem. It's gonna break the bank and also take more time, energy, and the stress.
Right. So speaking of energy, one of the first things you can do is to check your thermostat. Make sure that it's working properly because you're going to need heat now. You want to make sure that if it's programmable, that everything is set for the right settings. If you want to adjust the temperature so it's on energy efficient, but you want to make sure your thermostat is working, functioning. You don't want to be caught for that cold night and not have your heat working.
It happened a few times, Ken. The heat broke. We thought, hang on, that's impossible, right? That's a newer. When they called someone to go to the specialist go to check, they realized that they just
the battery.
Right. So you could save your headache and the money if you just check your battery, just replace the battery. So that's really simple. And also, I found a lot of my clients, right, they have engaged a professional company to check their HVAC system every fall. So they change the filter for them. I'm not here advertising you have to hire somebody. You could do it yourself. But sometimes they come check the system to maintenance, just like a different, same thing like we maintenance the car, right? I don't go to car. I can't remember last time I go to car dealer because my car broke down. When I was younger, I was short of money. Yes, I went there many times because the car broke down. But later on, I only go there for the maintenance. When they tell me, the brake is some issue or what potential issue, I always get it fixed. So that's why the last how many years, we never, 10, 20 years, I never had remember to go back to car dealer to repair my car. But in contrary, just to maintenance my car. Same with the HVAC system. So you can get them to the professional to service it.
Right. And also changing the filter is important to be done depending on the system you have, but usually every 3 months. And that's something that most systems would make it easy enough for the consumer to do it by just pulling out the old filter and putting in the new one. But having a clean filter will not only improve the air quality, but it also will make your HVAC work more efficiently, because if the filter is clogged, you're pushing all this air, so you're making the system work much harder, and you're decreasing the efficiency because you have all the dust and buildup from the filter blocking the air circulation.
Just like us, right? If you want to climb the mountains, right? Say, if they give you 50 pounds on your back, obviously it's much harder. So if you're keeping doing that, you're going to damage the machine, damage your health. Same here. So once again, if you are a homeowner or investors equally, because often we get a lot of calls from the tenant or landlord in October and also in April and May. Why? Because when they turn on the heat, first time turn on the heat or first time turn on the air conditioning, they realize it doesn't work. So it's not the machine broke. Once again, some could be because the battery issue, which has happened.
Or it could be the filter. We've had situations where it was a simple fix, just the filter was clogged and they weren't getting the heat coming through. That happened many times.
And also sometimes there's a little hatch there with the HVAC if the guy comes service it. I mean, it's really short, because I noticed when the technician comes, it's a very short period of time, change a battery and change filter or even fix the HVAC itself only take very, 10, 20, 30 minutes, right? But because that's a small issue. So if you can schedule that as a regular, so you won't get a quote as emergency, because a lot of time when you call this HVAC company emergency costs much more, plus your own uncomfortable, if you need a heat and or the tenant even, they're gonna call it because the heat is a big thing. The tenant has right to report the landlord if the heat not working for a lengthy period of time.
Right. Let's talk about another life safety thing. Obviously, changing the batteries on the smoke detectors and carbon monoxide. First of all, every homeowner, even though it's required, must please make sure you have working smoke detectors and you have carbon monoxide detectors in the bedroom hallways within 10 feet of the bedrooms. I mean, whenever you sell a house or you rent a house, it's a state requirement. Again, based on the year of construction, there's more stringent requirements for the newer homes. But I beg everybody out there, if you don't have smoke detectors and carbon monoxide, please go to your hardware store, Home Depot and Lowe's, and install them. And likewise, if you have them, please make sure that the batteries are changed, because that's a life safety thing. A carbon monoxide, that can and will save your life in the event of a fire.
Absolutely. Safety is the first. Ken, that's a good point, because recent years, the government changed the rules, right? And they need a 10-year battery, sealed battery for the alarm.
That's right, for this.
But older ones, because we're talking to the consumer, they may be in the same house for 20, 30 years, they never sold a house yet, right? So your battery could be the standard old one. If the old one, you really have to check it, to change it more often, because maybe every year you should change it.
But also, Jane, on that point, if you have a truly old smoke detector, maybe more than 8 to 10 years old, you probably exceeded its life. So you're best off just buying a new smoke detector and get a 10-year sealed battery. That's the new requirement. That means the battery is sealed and it's designed to last for 10 years without doing anything. But if you have the old ones that are pop-out batteries and they're relatively new, then you can again change the batteries and use it. But when you do sell the house, you're going to need to upgrade to a 10-year sealed battery. That's the new regulation that was put in about 2 years ago. It's a statewide regulation in New Jersey. And again, the homes typically built before 77 need a 10-year sealed smoke detector on every level of the house, including the basement. And they need carbon monoxide detectors, which can be, again, the pop-out batteries on any bedroom hallway within 10 feet of the bedrooms. And then the regulations, as the home gets newer, they switch to electric and then the interconnected electric. And then for the really newer homes from the 90s, they have to have a smoke detector in every bedroom, all the bedrooms, as well as in the bedroom hallway.
But once again, regardless you sell your home or not,
it's a life safety. That's the most.
You should pay attention, because that's very, very important, and to change that. Yes,
right, and also with the furnace, we should say it's also important to have the HVAC inspected, because you want to make sure that the exhaust is properly vented through the chimney, and you don't have any cracks or anything that could provide a backdraft for the emissions. So it's not only for the efficiency, but also for the life safety. So we covered for the furnace as well as for the smoke detectors and the carbon monoxide. These are all life safety checks. It's good to do it on an annual basis, and fall's the right time to do it.
Yep, absolutely. What else on your list, Ken?
Oh, I got a long list, so we better speed up a little bit. Everybody who's a homeowner, if you have hose bibs outside faucets, they're typically for your washing your cars, watering the plants. You want to, at some point when you get that first freeze, you want to shut off the interior valves, and you want to bleed out. You want to bleed out the water that's in the spigots, and then you want to, that's called winterizing them, because you don't want the water, any standing water between the main shutoff valve, between the local shutoff valve and the spigot to accumulate. So you want to bleed it out, because if it freezes, that could cause the pipe to burst.
Yeah.
So that's called that would be a very useful thing.
That's a very good point, Ken, because a lot of time the people said if they have the sprinkler system, they either do themselves or they have the company to do it. But a lot of people said, I don't have a sprinkler system. Why do I have to do that? As you mentioned, right? And you may have, the spit for the car washing or anything or gardening. Make sure you get that turned off from inside and then let the water out, because this happened again and again with the owner in the winter. The water broke.
And then you've got a big problem.
Big problem. Yes, absolutely.
Right.
Yes.
Okay, we're going to continue with this list right after this break. Okay, welcome back. We're continuing talking about falling back and what it means to get your house ready, doing some tips that'll save you money, and also are important life safety things that you should do on your home to ensure that you're protected. Another topic, Jane, is if you have a fireplace, you should have that inspected. That's a very important thing. They estimate that the Chimney Safety Institute estimates there's about 23,000 fires in the United States every year caused by faulty chimneys. Maybe there's accumulation of too much the soot or blockage, and the smoke accumulates. So you want to have your chimney inspected and possibly cleaned by a chimney professional. If you're using it on a regular basis, don't just don't just open the damper and figure you've been using it for 5-10 years and everything is good, because you don't want it to sneak up on you. So that's a very useful thing to have done.
Yeah, that's a very good point, Ken, because, if you are in a townhouse, right, or a condo, the association will require to do that. So that's association force you every year or every second year, you have to get it done. But when you are living in a single family, often a lot of my clients, because when I lease their home, I will ask them when last time they cleaned the fireplace. They may say, do I have to clean them? I say, yes, you do. So for the safety issue, so that's really, regardless you sell your home or not, that's a safety issue. I would highly, 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 highly recommend you to have the fireplace checked and swept. So for your safety reason, this is a lot to do with safety reason. And for the investor, it's the same, right? If it's single family, obviously, if it's a single family, you can make the arrangement between you and your tenant who responsible for that. If you want the tenant responsible, you can just put in the addendum and the renewal or original addendum. So make sure the tenant take care of that. That's a safety issue. Absolutely.
Right, absolutely.
Very important.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've covered some of the safety issues in terms of carbon monoxide and emissions and furnaces and the fireplaces. Now we're going to switch to our other friend, water issues, starting with the roof, the gutters, and the leaders. That's a very important thing to make sure you want to have your gutters and leaders inspected, cleaned, so that they're working effectively. You don't want them to clog up, because then if they clog up, the water's got to go somewhere, and it's going to likely run down your house, and it's going to be along your foundation. So let the gutters and leaders do their job by keeping them clean and removing the leaves. Or if you have gutter guards, that's great. Then just make sure that they're doing what they're supposed to do, because water can do a significant amount of damage. It'll eventually, if you have enough of it against your foundation, it's eventually going to win out, and it's going to infiltrate. And once it infiltrates, it's going to cause cracking, weakening of the foundation. You're going to have be susceptible to mold buildup. So you just want to, as they say, an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. So you want to make sure that the gutters and leaders are doing their job and pushing the water as far away from the foundation as possible. It's also good to check the leaders and have extensions to make sure that the water is diverted far away as possible from the foundation. It's, a lot of times we see homes where they're basically they have the gutters working, they have the leaders working, but there's like the leader just basically is vertical and it doesn't even connect to the ground. It just drops. So that means all the rainwater that goes down the leader is just pounding right on the either the soil or the foundation, and it's eventually just dripping. So it's rapidly coming and it's eventually seeping in, and it's just not the way to do it. So you want to make sure you have a nice leader system that effectively has an elbow and diverts it away from the foundation.
Yeah, and also the ground as well. The slope of the
that's another.
That's very important, because once we had owner, they wanted to sell the house, but I went there. I saw the house. I think I saw the basement. I said, hang on, there's some issue with the basement, but I noticed the ground was not sloped right. So I said, you better call the landscaping people to have a look. And also you mentioned the gutter. Believe it or not, I saw the little plant growing in the gutter. So I said, oh my God, I said, you have to take care of that. At the end, the owner did, for circumstances, the one member in the family got sick. They couldn't sell, which is fine. But later on, they called me to thank me for that, because that visit, even though they didn't sell the house, I told them, I said, you got to do this regardless sell or not. They take care of the ground, the slope, and then, as you said, it's very small fix, just by extension, the gutter away from the house, and clean the gutter there, and the basement no longer have water. It's a very, that's really stopped the water. So, even with a big storm, the water didn't come in. But before every big rain, they have water, because I said, the water from the roof is straight down to the basement.
Right, and we've done thousands of home inspections, and we experience this. That's, even though they're the trained professionals, you can learn a lot from the home inspectors, and basically that's what they look for when they do the exterior. They're going to check the roof, they're going to check the gutters, the leaders, and they also walk around the foundation. And one of the common sightings is if there's a depression in the pitch, or it's pitched towards the house, that's a big finding, because that's going to be a recurrent problem. So they're always going to. They want to see the soil sloped away from the house, elevated from the foundation, and going on a downward fashion, so that any water will flow away and not into the house. Yes,
absolutely. Once again, as you mentioned, prevention is the key. If you do that, you don't have the emergency and the worries. And year after year, the longer you live in the house, the more damage this kind of problem is going to cause you. So if you, in the fall, just walk around to check outside the ground, so that may help you to prevent, if you're very busy, and hire a professional to do so. Yes.
Okay, that's all good. What else do we have? It's also a good time. The fall is a good time for planning, obviously for enjoyment, but also it can be a nice time if you want to create that privacy border using the shrubs, the greenery, to create the fence and the nice natural border around the perimeter of your house. I think we were going to do some of that too.
Yes.
We just have to get around to digging it and getting the right. Just check with the gardening, the expert in gardening, about the right types of plants and shrubs you can do. I know from the planting aspect, I think you can also, there's bulbs. They're called fall bulbs that actually you can plant in the fall that blossom in the spring, namely like your flowers. You can do tulips, iris, daffodils, and then but also the shrubbery, the greenery. It's a good time to plant. So you get that, and eventually, if you sell the house in 10 to 15 to 20 years, you're going to have a nice natural grown full border.
Absolutely. Before that, Ken, it's very important. The point is you have to core to mark the ground.
Oh,
because
right.
That's very important. A lot of people didn't know that, that's a free service, and you have to core to mark the ground before you dig in, because otherwise you could dig into the power line or the gas line or
your cable,
the cable line.
Then you miss the sports games. So
that's right. You miss your games. Yeah, absolutely. So you have to always core to get that marked. And coming back what you said about the gardening, I sold many homes, when the owner owned a house for 10, 20 years, they had to drop that gorgeous backyard garden. It turns out the owner liked gardening. So when they bought the Japanese maple, for example, they only spent maybe $29. But later on, after 10, 20 years, that maple worth thousands. So they just love it. A lot of time you go into the backyard or in the front, the curb peeling is absolutely gorgeous. But if you have a professional to design do it, it's going to cost a lot of money. But if you do it little by little, you're enjoying, and plus the cost for smaller shrubs or plants is very reasonable. But they all they all growing later on to become mature. But one thing I really want to bring to listener attention: when you plant the trees, don't plant too close to your house. Lot of plant, right? Too close to the house, the roots is going to damage the awakening the foundation. And also, if you plant you plant any trees, look it up how big the tree going to grow. So if the tree is too close to the house, there's a few issues. Number one, they can awaken your basement, the foundation, the structure. Secondly, the leaves going to on your roof, and sometimes if not enough sunlight, they're going to reduce the life of the roof. And thirdly,
or you could get mold and
the
rust
mold
build up too.
the lot of issue. And then thirdly, if you have a lot of trees, right, and your house may not be as bright. Because that's a few things, right? When you're planning, you really have to talk to expert and to research how big the tree / shrubs or the plant are going to be and the location of them.
Right, and also as far as the location, I would add, Jane, that you don't want to plant it too close to any paved areas or any sidewalks, because otherwise, in years to come, like with the foundations, you're going to get lifted sidewalks. There are a few streets where we see that notably.
Yes.
The whole street the sidewalk is lifting, and then the sidewalks are typically the homeowner's responsibility to maintain, and then it's going to cost you time and money to level the sidewalks again, because eventually the trees will lift it up.
And that's a trip hazard. Your insurance, everything, that's going to affect the insurance, and even though you sell a home, definitely the buyer would want that to be fixed. If you don't sell a home, if anybody tripped, and they're going to claim your insurance. So that's going to, the health issue and also the cost. So that's very important. Before you plant, you check what kind of plants are they. So before you do.
Yes. And also call before you dig.
Yes.
Don't dig before you call. Otherwise, you'll get called on and you'll get in trouble.
Absolutely.
By the utility company will come knocking on your door.
And another thing in fall is please clean your yard, clean the leaves. Because the leaves can kill your grass, so you have to call a professional or clean yourself to get the leaves taken care of, and sometimes the branches and everything. So that's gonna make your home look top level, and
right.
For your the good neighbors and people, it's good for the neighborhood, good for you, and also good for your grass. So
now's a good time with the leaf cleaning. If you are going to do it yourself, organize your garage, get your rake, get your broom, get your recyclable leaf bags, or get the phone number for your landscaper lined up, or make sure you've got that service lined up so you have the routine leaf maintenance. If you don't like raking and bagging, which I don't think too many people are really fond of, but some may like it. Raking is one thing, but bagging is very time consuming. So
I think you'll try it once and then you realize how hard work it is.
Well, when you have thousands of trees and leaves, it becomes a very challenging and time consuming thing, right? So but you want to get your garage. That's a good time in the fall to get the fall tools ready and get the winter tools also ready, which could be your salt, your snow blower, your shovel, and hopefully we don't have much snow, but at least it's a good time to at least know where the equipment is. So in the event you need it, it's ready to go.
And also declutter, full time is a good time to whatever you don't need, and just, to make sure. So if you do it on an annual basis, and when the time comes when you're ready to move, or, there will be much, much less work. Because some owners I have, I represent the whole basement for the whole house. Think about it, it's like a daunting task. But if you do it annually, little by little, so hopefully, you're not too much to do before you're ready to put your house on the market.
And you'll still have plenty of time to watch the football. Maybe not the full Saturday and Sunday slot, but at least you can check out the Jets or the Giants on Sunday.
Right.
But they play the same time usually, so you have to watch both games. But all right, we'll see if they get less than 7 wins or more than 7 wins for the Jets. We'll keep it up. We're going to keep monitoring on that. So we're out of time for today, and we're going to keep you. We're going to hold you to that. Less than 7. We'll see. We're out of time. We'll see everyone next week.
Thank you.